What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ricky and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to talk about my Army MOS, Combat Documentation / Production Specialist, otherwise known as 25 Victor. Stay tuned.
Walking down the street one day. Met a total stranger. He asked me what I wanted to be. Airborne Ranger.
Military Occupational Specialty, Combat Documentation Production Specialist. As the eyes and ears of the commander on the battlefield, soldiers in this MOS provide feedback for combat decisions to help units succeed in their missions. Because information is sensitive, you must qualify for a secret clearance in this MOS. Then the Army will train you in electronic news gathering to document combat action using a video camera. You'll also train to use digital still photography equipment in both studio and combat environments, and train in basic lighting and camera composition techniques for both still and video cameras. In addition, you'll be taught television studio operations, basic directing skills, and the editing of video and audio tapes. Training will also include the use of cameras, lenses, and light meters, as well as the up and downloading of digital images instantaneously in battle. In addition, you'll train in still photography and in the automated processing and printing of images acquired. You will also train in photographic composition, investigative photography, and portraiture, plus the proper maintenance of your equipment. After your initial entry training and advanced individual training, you'll work supporting Army operations in the field day or night, where you may be assigned to a TV production facility, a photo processing laboratory, or be required to travel to the front lines with a combat unit to provide audio, video, or still photography documentation of Army action. You may also operate video equipment in a combat situation and transmit the signal live from the field or a fixed studio, or play a finished video of events in a delayed broadcast. In the field, you may produce digital images and transmit them via satellite to locations anywhere in the world. Serving in this MOS can help you transition from the military to the civilian employment sector. So, if you want to be the eyes and ears of your battlefield commander, then be a Military Occupational Specialty, Combat Documentation Production Specialist.
So after watching that clip, that kind of gives you an idea of what the 25 Victor MOS does. But I'm going to give you the real deal. I'm going to give you really what we do. First of all, I'm going to start out with a couple of things that if you want to do this MOS, some of the requirements that they're saying here on the Go Army website. Off rip, it's looking like your ASVAB score in electronics needs to be a 93 and skill technical needs to be a 91. Okay, so here's how my career path and progression went and the duties that I've done in my career. So you go to AIT at Fort Meade, Maryland. You go to the Defense Information School. You go there for 26 weeks. You train on photo and video during that time. Depending on where you are stationed, that's going to determine the type of work you're going to do. My very first duty station was Fort Bragg, North Carolina. At Fort Bragg, North Carolina, I did a lot of photo, rarely did video. So there was a photo heavy MOS. So I did a lot of photos, I did a lot of ceremonies, I did a lot of trainings, all kind of trainings in special locations and airborne jumps and water jumps, and I did all that kind of stuff. Those are the types of things that I did when I was at Fort Bragg. And all of those only required basically available light. So there wasn't a whole lot of flash photography and things of that nature that you had to do at Fort Bragg. It just wasn't required. We did also military, the operations center, or we called it the MOC. They had a lot of people come through and tour so they could show off all the toys that the MOC had that we never used, but they wanted to show off, oh, look at all this pretty stuff we got. So we had to take pictures of the DVs that came through and did that. We also were tasked to take blue sheet photos. Now what blue sheet photo is, it's that photo you take right before you deploy. There's a photo that you take before you deploy in case something happens. This is the photo that's going to circulate in news and blah blah blah. So we called it the death photo. It was in your either your blues or greens at that time when I was there, or in your ACU uniform. So we had to do those as well. I was also tasked to do some command photos that went around the different commands. When you see those chain of command photos, I went around to exclusively. I know our commander at the time, over the whole battalion. I went and did his photo in his office, and those are the photos they used to put around all the different little companies and things like that. So that's some of the things that I did at my first duty station. Now, when I PCS from there and I went to Germany, I went to the American Forces Network, and I did mostly video. I was basically required to do the job of a 46 Romeo. So I had to do video stories. So that's kind of different from the skill set that we're taught at DINFOS. But this is why it's important for you to not only take the knowledge that you get from DINFOS, the knowledge you get on your own. For me, I live by this moniker: be obsessed or be average. I never wanted to be average in my MOS, so I was obsessed with being good, just knowing and being proficient. It wasn't even about being the best, it's just about being proficient and being any situation I'm put in, I can perform. And that was what I wanted. I had a fear of being put in a position that I couldn't, that I wasn't able to perform because I wasn't prepared. And I see a lot of people in our MOS, in our career field, a lot of times they are one-dimensional, and then they get in certain situations and they can't perform because they haven't adequately prepared themselves for any situation that it might be. Because we're trained to do video and photography, but a lot of victors tend to lean more on photography, and they either go one or two ways. They either lean on the photography or they lean on the video, but they're weak in one. And I always wanted to be one of those ones that was equal in both. So when I got to AFN, I took the challenge to make sure that, hey, I wanted my stuff to look, I prided myself to have my stuff look different than everybody's, different in a good way. And then I also prided myself to learn the writing part, because you have to write lead-ins, and you have to write, it's different things you have to do for news broadcast that it's not taught in the scope of our MOS. But you should know it's like basically an extended caption of events going on in your video. You had to do that a lot of times, and you had to write narrations and stuff like that, which is not that hard, because based on your B-roll, that's how you're gonna write your narration. So it's really not really that hard. But I took the challenge, and I had to learn. I didn't do a lot of video my first, so it was a learning process. I did stuff after work. I looked up tutorials. I put myself to the test. I was shooting after work. And that's because I wanted to be proficient. I wanted to make sure that they can call on me for anything that needed to be done. Now, on the photography side, there was no photography requirement really for me at American Forces Network. But me being me, I'm always taking a still with me. So while I'm out there shooting stories, I'm getting stills too. Everybody doesn't do that. It's not something that's required to do. But I wanted to keep my photography proficiency up as well. So I didn't want to just be like, well, we didn't take photos at American Forces Network, so my photos, my photography skills are a little rusty. I didn't want to do that. And thank God I didn't do that, because I went straight from American Forces Network, where I did nothing but video, and into the Army Photography Division, where I am now. And in the Army Photography Division, it's basically all nothing but event photography. And in that, you get put in a lot of rooms and a lot of situations that you got to know how to use your flash. And that was one of I used to call flash my kryptonite. And it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It's just that I didn't want to put the time in to really learn how to use flash. But thankfully, before I left AFN, there was a sergeant that was there who was great at flash. And he showed me everything about flash. He showed me how to measure, how to determine. He also showed me, when you get in the bind, you can just put it on TTL, which is through the lens. And basically what TTL is, for all you camera heads out there, is basically it evaluates your settings that you have in the camera and what you see through the lens. And it pops out the amount of light needed to fill that. So, he taught me how to use flash, and it got me kind of comfortable with it. And good thing he did, because when I got to the next station, guess what? I needed to know how to use flash. So I got there, and I was ready. and I was ready to do the event photography because my photography skills, I kept them going even though I was at a mostly video assignment. Deployments. I can say that I've never been deployed. I've never been deployed overseas, and it's not by my choice. It's just that I was never chosen to go to a deployment. I was always at, the assignments that I've been at has been special assignments. So American Forces Network, they don't deploy. Special assignment. Army Photography Division, they don't deploy. It's a special assignment. The only place I had an opportunity to maybe deploy was Fort Bragg, North Carolina. But because of insinuating circumstances that are beyond my control, it was just a lot of politics, and if you weren't airborne, they didn't give you certain opportunities and blah blah blah. Guys, I appreciate it again. Please don't forget to subscribe, and please don't forget to like this video. And again, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments of any of my videos. If you have a question, leave it down in the comments and I will answer them immediately. Again, thanks guys, and see you in the next video.
Walking down the street one day.
Walking down the street one day,
Met a total stranger.
I met a total stranger.
He asked me what I wanted to be.
He asked me what I wanted to be.
Airborne Ranger.